Welcome to our spring PTSB Ideal Home Show video series, Meet the Experts, our 4 episodes of home inspiration and expert guidance series with special guests. Before we start the discussion, a quick reminder that the spring show is on from Friday 26th to Sunday the 28th of April at the RDS Simmons Court. It promises to be a fantastic show packed with choice, expert advice and inspiration for your home. There's an early bird offer of 2 free adult tickets for a day of your choice. This is only available for a limited time, so make sure you register for your tickets as soon as you can at idealhome.ie. Today, we'll be discussing all things upcycling, and I would like to welcome our upcycling expert, Aileen Hogan. Aileen will be part of the Fleetwood Paints Interior Design Hub. To our Meet the Experts series. I want to get straight into it because there's so much I want to talk to you about. So maybe for people watching, can you give us a little bit of an inside story on your own work and how you became a Fleetwood Paints ambassador?
We're have to go back about 10 or 12 years. I started getting very involved on social media, mainly Facebook, and traveling the country, teaching people the art of upcycling. And became extremely passionate about it. And the workshops and demonstrations I would hold around the country were attracting a huge amount of people, as were the Facebook Lives I was doing at the time. Facebook Live had only just come in then, and I started doing some Facebook Friday, it was called actually, every Friday. And I think I came on the radar of Fleetwood Paints around that time. But funny enough, it was also a time when I was personally looking for an Irish paint brand, because I had been using all kinds of paint, that I could really recommend to my followers, that I was really happy with, because I cannot recommend something unless I've used it myself. I'm really happy with it, and I can tell you all about it. So I joined up with Fleetwood. I said it was about 6 years ago, and it was a match made in heaven. At least I think so.
And you guys have been working together?
We've been working together ever since, and I still do what I always did. I still travel the country, only instead of just talking about upcycling, I cover all aspects of home decor. Whether you're painting your kitchens, internal doors, external doors, pergolas outside, we cover everything in the demonstrations that we do all over Ireland. And I still do an awful lot, mainly, funny enough, since COVID, on my own home and friends' homes. I demonstrate the products and the techniques that I teach in the home because I really want to inspire people to pick up the brush, pick up the drill, pick up the chop saw, and do it for yourself.
Oh, well, inspire is the word, because your projects are out of this world. And you've touched there on a word that comes up a lot, which is upcycling. So I'd love to maybe dig in a little bit and ask you, what does that term encapsulate?
Oh, that's a great question, and actually very topical for me at the moment, because upcycling for the last 10 or 12 years became huge as painting furniture. Taking an old piece of furniture, giving it a new piece of life, making it look completely different. And then it also included repurposing, as in taking a headboard and making it into a bench. But it was still all to do with furniture. And to me, it includes far more than that. But I don't think people actually realize that what they're doing is upcycling. So if you have all pine doors in your house and you just want to de-pine, as it's called now, and make them look more modern, that is painting, that is upcycling. If you want to change your kitchen, the colour of your kitchen, that is upcycling, although we just tend to call it painting your kitchen or painting your house. But these are all versions of upcycling.
Well, that's a common thread that has been woven through everything you've shared so far is the word painting. That's obviously why you work so closely with Fleetwood Paints, but what role does paint play in upcycling or in renovation?
The power of paint actually never ceases to amaze me, Joe. And all my followers who I have helped take up the mantle in their own homes will agree. Paint can not only change the mood of a room, the style, the warmth. It is incredible how it can change the feeling of the space you live in. Even just the colour, let alone totally transform an old piece of furniture and bring it up to date and modernise it. There was a theme last year, and it's actually still extremely popular, called colour drenching. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I heard of it actually on one of the Meet the Experts chats from last year. So I am a little bit versed, but I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more.
Well, I adore colour drenching. I've done so much of it in my own house. And what it means is you drench, basically, a room or a wall or a scheme in the same colour. And how you manage that is you choose a colour, but you can get it mixed into all different kinds of paint. You can get ceiling paint, wall paint, trim paint for the wood, radiators. You can get it, all those different paints mixed into the same colour. But for me, it allows me to choose, and I'm not an interior designer by any means, but this colour drenching allows me to choose the focal point in my room. So when I do up this space, the eye is not drawn to that white radiator on the wall or that door that really I don't want you to see. Colour drenching makes everything fade into one while adding character and charm, but allows you to choose the focal point. So when this space is all one beautiful colour, there you have this big plant in the corner to draw the eye, or whatever you choose. So that is the big thing for me. But colour is difficult for an awful lot of people. But I think we'll get into that when we talk about what's coming up at the Ideal Home.
Yes, and speaking of getting started, when people are thinking about colours or they have a piece that they want to look at, or like you said, they have a room that maybe they want to, dull down a door or something old, how do they get started? And I can see something in the corner of my eye that I think you maybe will be able to show us for those who maybe are just at the start of their journey with this.
Well, I'm going to give you 2 tips, actually. I'll give everybody 2 tips. And these are probably the 2 top tips I will say in all my demonstrations. The basic steps, 1, 2, 3 steps, are the same regardless of whether you're painting a kitchen or you're painting the outside of your door or you're painting a piece of furniture. It is clean, sand and prime, right? You need to clean whatever the surface is. Some require more sanding than others. We can go into that. And then you need to prime the surface to accept the paint. So the first thing I would say to everybody is to go out and buy this. This is my new absolute baby. I love this. Fleetwood Paints introduced the upcycling painting kit earlier this year. And what it is it's a paint tray with a lid on it. And inside the tray, it has a fabulous round brush. It has a little cut-in brush. It has your sanding pad. It has the handle and 2 rollers. And it also has washi tape in there, masking tape for areas that you don't want paint on. But there's 2 things that are exceptional. Well, 3 things, actually. One is the price. It is such good value. But also, I find that if you're not doing much painting in your house and you do one little job, you put the paintbrush here, you put the roller here, and then if you go to find something again, you can't find any of it. You end up going out having to buy more. So what I do is now, every time I finish, my paintbrush goes back in there, my sanding pad, and I put the lid back on. But I know you're big into sustainability. So that label that most people would take off and then throw out, not with this kit. This is a must keep, because on the back it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to upcycle any piece of furniture. But even more than that, here, products. I am passionate about teaching people to know what they want when they go into a shop and not have to rely on the expertise of the shop that they're going into. Most independent stores are absolutely amazing. Staff know all the products that they sell, but that isn't always guaranteed. On the back here, you have the different primers, when they should be used, why they should be used. That is a keeper. Keep that in your little kit, and every time you think, right, I want to do this, what do I need? There's your little reference.
Well, that's amazing because for me, that's what would confuse me. The types of paints, what paint can go on top of another one. I know that that's a lot of the question that you get. So having that little guide, it must be a no-brainer for you to help support people. And as you say, empowering them to know themselves instead of having to constantly Google or ask an expert.
It is. And the main reason that is, Joe, is because, as I said, the first few steps are easy, but where people fall down then is knowing the surface that you're working on. Different surfaces require a different treatment. So all the paints that I use at the moment are water-based. But water-based paints will not stick to certain types of surfaces, difficult surfaces, or they won't block in nasties like knots, the oil in the knots in raw pine. So sometimes you need a little bit of an extra hand. And the second tip I was going to give you for upcycling a piece of furniture is that in cases where it's a difficult surface, or you have a bleeder, as I call them, that's the ones where the tannins can come through your water-based paint, you need to use a special primer. And unfortunately, these primers are not water-based. They are oil-based or shellac-based. And Fleetwood paints, incredibly, have manufactured, and this is the spray version, but they do come in tins, an oil-based primer that will stick to anything. And I have pretty much tried it on everything. It will stick to anything, it blocks in all nasties, but the best thing, you can put a water-based paint over it. Now, that is not always the case, to be fair, but yes, it is in Fleetwood paints. And it's one of the best things I love about that brand, is that I don't have to cross-brand. I know the product will work, and I can put my favourite water-based paint. I don't have to use oil-based paint over it, which I wouldn't use anyway.
Well, if you're standing over it, I trust it 100% because you really are the queen. I'd love to ask if, people maybe have the kit and they're getting started, how can the Fleetwood Paints team support them in whatever painting journey they're starting on?
Well, I think you're big into sustainability, aren't you? As am I. And I think, actually, that's probably why I got into upcycling in the first place. It really, that and having no money to actually buy new furniture when I first bought a house. That was probably the main reason. But it used to really upset me to see beautiful, old quality pieces of furniture dumped in our landfill. And then I made the mistake of actually Googling how much furniture was thrown into landfills over the years, and it's frightening, isn't it? Frightening. So I think that's where I became passionate about shopping in-home, to start with, and re-looking at all you have and how you can repurpose it and how you can make it look different to suit your more modern decor. So sustainability is important to me, and the brand I work with also has to support that. So these cans, for example. No, actually, let's start with, do you remember years ago we would paint something in our home and we knew we'd painted it because you could smell the paint for about a week afterwards? We were using oil-based paints. Now, thank God, Fleetwood Paints and pretty much all paint manufacturers have gone away from that, and we're using water-based paints because with low VOCs. Now, everybody kind of knows what VOCs do and that they're bad, but nobody actually knows why. So they're volatile organic compounds which reduce the air quality in your home while the paint is drying, right? And I'm asthmatic, so it's particularly bad for me. I can actually feel it in my respiratory system, but oil-based paints can also give eye, throat, irritations, give you headaches. If you've ever used a very strong wax, smell it. So it's very important to me that the advanced range of paints from Fleetwood Paint are all water-based, and they're the only ones I use. In fact, the only oil-based product I use, as I talked about, is the primer. But also, these cans are not only recyclable, but you'll see a little label on here that said metal recycles forever. The tin in that is recyclable again and again and again and again. That's really important to me, that these are not just thrown away.
And that's amazing because we know that paint tins are notoriously difficult to recycle. A lot of them have to be destroyed. So to have a recyclable tin with paint inside that's low VOC is, a no-brainer.
A no-brainer. Easy to use. Easy to use. That's the other thing. It's much easier to use.
Well, you wouldn't be recommending it if you couldn't actually paint with it.
I absolutely would not.
So, Aileen, you'll be at the Fleetwood Paints Interiors Design Hub at the show in April. What can people expect?
An even bigger version of what we had last year. So we've doubled the amount of space, and we are not just doing interior design, we will be doing exterior and garden, and we will be doing kitchen painting, not actual kitchen painting, but we'll be showcasing kitchen painting, furniture painting, and upcycling as a whole with paint and stains. So there are going to be designers on hand all weekend.
So, Aileen, you'll be at the Fleetwood Paints Interior Hub at the April Ideal Home Show. What can people expect when they come to your stand?
They can expect double the amount of space from last year. Lots of interior designers and myself bring pictures, videos of whether it's furniture or room, anything that you are thinking of doing up. And the colour experts will help you with the colour, and I will help you how to do it yourself. Come and meet us, get a big welcome, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you.
Oh, I can't wait. Aileen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jo.
That's all we have time for today. We can't wait to see you at the show this year. You can meet Aileen and all of the Fleetwood Paints Interior Design Hub at stand N10 to start your upcycling journey. Today's beautiful set was styled by Studio B Homewares and Diamond Furniture, who offer a beautiful range of furniture and sustainable homewares. Their services include interior design and home staging. Diamond Furniture will have an extensive range at the show on stand Q10. And I can't wait to see you all at the DFS Interiors Theatre. I'll be there every day of the show, interviewing a fantastic lineup of industry leaders and experts, including QS, Patricia Power, and Hugh Wallace. Topics will include interior design trends, decor, home makeovers, home extensions, upcycling, financing, and so much more. And finally, don't forget there is an early bird offer of 2 free adult tickets for a day of your choice. This is only available for a very limited time, so make sure you register for your tickets as soon as you can at idealhome.ie.